morning, everyone. Hi. Hello. Hey. I'm Matt Gross. I'm the founder and CEO of Newsela, and so happy to be here. Just quick show of hands. I just want to get a sense of who's in the room so I could gear my talk for you. So, who here is an education investor or somewhere in the finance world? Okay, we have a couple. Who's working at a company? And of those of you, are anybody interested in working with Newsela? Okay, all right, great. Anybody in policy? And any Newsela staffers here right now? Woo! All right, there you are. Great. All right, so I have a sense I'll gear it that way a little bit. So we are an education content company. We are the market leader in educational content, specifically text content for K-12 schools. And I went to a great session yesterday as a panel focused on education research and student motivation. And there was this great former superintendent of Vista School District right here in the San Diego area. And one of the things he likes to do is go around to schools and poll students on what they think about school. And one of the questions that he asked in this anonymous poll was, name one word to describe school. Does anybody know what the most common word was? What's your guess? Boring, I heard. What else do I hear? Boring, a few. Okay, well, they're a little bit smarter than you. They use the word irrelevant. Irrelevant. So the good news is these students had some pretty good academic vocabulary. Irrelevant's a real meaty word. But the bad news is, like, that's their perspective on what school is. And I'd go even further to say it's not just irrelevant, but they don't feel competent as learners oftentimes, and certainly not competent as readers. And that is exactly the problem that Newsela was purpose-built to solve. That school often doesn't feel relevant, and especially to students these days who are digital natives, teachers who are digital natives. They're expecting the world to come to them, for content to be personalized, for it to be meaningful, for it to be connected to the things that they really care about. And school hasn't done a great job of doing that. We wanted to focus on the content. How do you make content relevant, meaningful, effective for students, while at the same time doing something which is incredibly challenging for teachers and districts, which is to align it to standards, to make sure it's helping to reach your educational objectives, to work in your scope and sequence. So to match all of these things together, to ask a teacher to go to the internet and seek out these resources to solve all of these problems at once is way too much of an ask to make. And we are asking teachers to do that. And we wanted to solve that problem. So we are Newsela. We are the market-leading instructional content platform. And what we do is take the best content from all around the internet, from all of the best digital sources. We partner with them, we instructionalize that content, and we deliver it to students in a way that's meaningful, engaging, effective, and aligns with the school's educational goals. So just to give you a sense of, for the two investors in the room, I know you'll like this stuff. So it's a big industry we're working in. So educational materials is about a $12 billion addressable market. We operate in about $10 billion of that addressable market. Professional development, print textbooks, and so on. So big industry, about the same size as the consumer music business in the United States, and actually going through the same kind of disruption that consumer music went through not terribly long ago. And it's an exciting opportunity to do something new. So we have a huge footprint in this huge market. Newsela has a presence, so registered active users in about 100,000 schools, about the 130,000 schools in the United States. Our paid paying schools is about 5,000 schools. So that represents a huge upside opportunity for us as this digital landscape in schools evolves. So we are targeting the subjects where the most dollars are spent, and frankly, the most time is spent in school. So reading and language arts is right in our wheelhouse. Social studies as well, something that a lot of people are just discovering about Newsela. English language learners, foreign language. Actually, science is some of our most popular content, but we haven't yet sought to monetize that market, seek dollars from science buyers yet, but it's also a huge opportunity for us as well. In terms of registered users, 3/4 of all English teachers in America are registered on Newsela. About 60% of all social studies teachers, about half of all elementary and science teachers, and so on. So again, huge footprint. And the disruption in education in terms of an under-digitized market going digital is here. I mean, that's why we're all in the room. I don't need to explain it to you, but just one salient piece of research, MDR, leading educational research company, says that 60% of all classrooms are one-to-one. That means a device available to a student 100% of the time, just as all of you have devices available to you in your workplaces. That number is expected to go to 90% in just the next 3 years. We have not yet reached that key inflection point in the market where schools are completely comfortable with digital materials and they are preferring it over paper-based materials. That day is yet to come, and that means the market has even further room to evolve. So how does Newsela work? So for the newbies in the room, so we have over 100 content partners. So we have licensing agreements with them, some free sources as well, but we pick highly reputable partners with engaging, meaningful, useful content for schools. We take their content and then we instructionalize it. We have a proprietary content management system where we ingest articles into our platform, and through a magical combination of human and machine intelligence, we do several things to the articles. We rewrite them at 5 reading levels so that students of all reading abilities can feel competent, that they could access content that's meaningful to them. And one thing I love to see as I walk into a classroom is that students of all different reading abilities will have the same article open. It looks like the same thing, and they're all engaged in meaningful discussions about the world. And yet they all may be reading at different reading levels, and we make that possible for readers. Another thing that we do is we add formative assessments to every article at every level, because we feel that a teacher should never have to move on to the next thing to teach without knowing whether the students actually read the content that was assigned to them, that they were supposed to read, much less whether they understood it. And then we publish the Newsela on a platform that's accessible to teachers and students. And it's this flywheel of engagement where teachers and students sign up for the platform, students start to read, we learn about the students, we learn about the teachers, we present data and information and new article recommendations back to those students, and they engage with the platform further. So much like Netflix does for streaming video on demand, we do for educational content, for text content on Newsela. And then, of course, you can see what your students are learning. And this is the main pro feature that schools love, that their teachers can see what's going on with their students. They could see their students' quiz results, their annotations, how long it took them to read an article, whether they even opened the article in the first place, whether they liked an article. So seeing all those students' artifacts organized in a single accessible place and in a way that's easy to flip from student to student. And one other thing that we love about Newsela is the reading experience itself. Like, we know that just the process of ingesting content is a moment at which students can feel engaged, competent, and we do things on the platform that help students feel that way. We give them the tools to interact with the content, to challenge themselves to see whether they know it, to express whether they liked or disliked content, and much more. And then we measure reading progress over time. So teachers can always see their student trajectories. They love data, and that's especially valuable at the school and the district level, where all of this information rolls up into aggregated reports. Now, we're not just operating as a standalone. If we are going to thrive as an ed tech ecosystem, Products that are commonly used, they need to be able to work with each other where it's going to help with the workflows and help provide great information to teachers and administrators and students. And so we work with commonly used learning management systems, single sign-on systems, such as Clever, Microsoft Education, Google Classroom, Canvas, and so on and so on. And our partner universe is expanding. And Newsela works. Well, we're focused on engagement. What we really want is for students to feel empowered as readers, to be able to have them like the content that they're reading, to become more interested in it, to want to read another article. But one very useful byproduct of being engaged is that students are actually becoming stronger readers. And in fact, we just wrapped up a research project with WestEd that found that students who use Newsela twice a week for just 12 weeks showed twice the learning gains as the control group. And students who use Newsela every day in that test group see 3 times the reading gains as the control group. So all of this adds up to Newsela being a trusted source for educators. We are the #1 most recommended reading resource in secondary schools, so that's in grades 6 through 12, and we're the #2 most recommended resource in elementary schools. And we have presence in all 50 states, so wide distribution, no single special concentrations. And very fast early adoption. So you could see the ramp in the number of student registrations. We now have over 16 million students and 1.5 million teachers registered on Newsela today. And we've quickly grown to pro penetration in 5,000 schools across America. And the revenue growth has been pretty remarkable. In just 4 years since we launched a paid product, we grew to over 20 million in revenues and still continuing to grow extremely fast. So while you're here, I wanted to quickly mention a couple of new products that we're launching this spring that we're very excited about. First of all, there's custom collections. So superintendent recently was saying to me, Matt, I love Newsela. I have this dream that our students read nothing but Newsela for all of their text content. And I said, you know what? Coincidentally, I have that same dream too. But the question is, how do you make that possible? Well, you could go the sort of textbook direction of static content, a fixed pathway towards students learning the things that they need to learn. But one of the things that we realize is special about Newsela and personalization in general is the flexibility that it affords for students to be able to follow their own paths within a specific learning, within the realm of a specific learning objective. And so we are able to deliver that to districts in a way that nobody has ever really done before, which is districts give us their scope and sequence. They give us the approaches that they already use, the lesson plans that they already use, and we create custom bundles of content specifically for that district. And with a wide enough variety of content that the learning experience can be personalized for students. This is a remarkable development for school districts because they no longer have to rely on those static learning pathways, and they know that every single year we are going to be refreshing their content as their needs evolve and as we learn more about their students. And the second, and I can only mention a little bit about this because we'll be announcing more later, is social emotional learning. So social emotional learning is one of the most widely sought after new areas of teaching and learning in the K-12 space. And it's incredibly important for me as a parent. I'm very proud to say that we're doing SEL the Newsela way, which is making it possible to build social emotional learning into your core instruction, so into language arts, into social studies. And more about that later, but you'll hear about that soon. So many more opportunities for Newsela with the evolutions in natural language processing, opportunities to go international, opportunities to reach parents. We're just scratching the tip of the iceberg with K-12, but it's certainly our focus right now, and it's the area in which I've dedicated pretty much all of my professional life. And this is our incredible team. Here's Tori Patterson from Al Ventures, who's sitting right there in the back of the room. Hey, Tori. Amazing board of directors from both outside of industry and in media, in software as a service, and an incredible team as well, many of whom are here today. So I thank you very much for your time. I'm so excited about Newsela's future, and if you're interested in partnering opportunities or have any questions, please don't hesitate to come up to me afterwards. Thank you very much.